I was in the middle of an explosion with literally nowhere to be blown to. Oh, here we go.
No.
Let out the human noises.
No, don't do it. Okay, that's better.
I feel like a sadist, just enjoy this kid crying.
All right, we are calling all Gundam Seed pilots. Are you ready to double your deployment? Join us on Patreon and get double episodes dropped right away. Once we reach 30 patrons, we'll bring double episodes to YouTube for everybody to experience. So fuel your Gundam addiction on Patreon. So let's build this community together, join Patreon, and get those double episodes of Gundam Seed.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Justin, and we are back with another episode of Mobile Suit Gundam Seed. We are in Phase 30, in the Promised Land, and I guess just as a minor notation, we are recording this the day after the last episode, so if we've forgotten something that we previously talked about, chalk it to memory. Speaking of memory, how about you go ahead and remind us of what happened last time?
Hell yeah, last time we came into the first sort of round of like peaceful resolution of the previous events and fight. We had a aggressive interaction between Atherin and Kigali, where they both sort of not violently is the wrong term, but came to terms with the fact that Kira's dead. And Atherin was handed back to Zaft. Before that, he was given a charm from Kigali. There was a lot of this stuff about Toll's death and his girlfriend freaking out about that and being like, MIA, no, he's got to be out there, blah, blah, blah. The collection of their stuff, which is standard military practice.
I think you gotta have Haw mixed up with Flay.
Nope.
Because it was Flay who was freaking out about MIA, about Kira. I don't remember Haw freaking out at all, other than she wanders up to like the simulation thing.
End of the episode was the freak out.
I don't.
It wasn't as much of like a oh look at me type of freak out as Flay's are, but it was still like a mental like he has to be out there because that's what inspired is it LaFlaga who's on the good side?
LaFlaga's on the good side.
Okay.
La Recette is the bad guy.
Because that's what inspired LaFlaga to possibly go out and find them before the captain was like, I get it. I want to do the same, but like
he was talking about that the whole episode, though. He wasn't inspired by anything at the end. He wanted to from the very beginning, but his jet was damaged.
It's true, but at that point, that is when they had a moment where he was refused. Like he was active. He was going against. He was starting to go against orders and actively repairing it to go out.
Well, Ramus and him already had a conversation about that in the middle of the episode.
But no, that was after the Ramius conversation was after that because they told her, and she went down and was like, "If I would be the first person out there, but like we let Orb know we gotta let them do their thing."
My refutation of your statement is hard to make considering that I'm freeze framed on the very first frame of the episode, which is Haw standing over the cockpit. Wait, or is that the simulator? I think that's the simulator that she was...
It's the simulator.
So this must be just a flashback to the episode. I thought she was climbing into a jet, which is like what you were talking about. And it's like, is it a hard argument to make when I'm looking at it?
So she was never climbing into a jet. She went to the simulator.
That was near the beginning of the episode.
No, because beginning of the episode was her in her room.
God, I remember Flay in her room at the beginning of the episode. Do you remember this statement that I made near the beginning of the episode? Isn't it weird how they put all the female characters in the pink uniforms?
Yes,
Maybe all I'm seeing is pink uniforms. Also,
it's
not helped
it's
by the fact that
possible.
this freeze frame has LaFlaga in a pink uniform. Limiting. I know my statement was untrue from the beginning because Ramius and Batgirl don't wear pink uniforms. It
That just
seems
means
like all
LaFleur.
the civilians that got military ranks and were given uniforms to wear on the bridge were color coded. All the boys had blue, and all the girls wore pink.
That just means LaFlaga is secretly a girl. That's it.
Or colorblind.
Or colorblind.
I don't know if you ever watched Red versus Blue, but that whole, you know, it's red, not pink. You know, that whole argument. I like to think that sometimes I'm talking and I'm not holding the push to talk, so I say something very important or interesting, and everyone just hears my dumb jokes because I don't say the important stuff while holding the push to talk.
But yeah, and then we ended with the biggest "what the fuck is that" moment that I think we've had the entire series
Yeah, that the
series of
explosion
Gundam
opened a
watch.
wormhole and blew Kira into space.
Yeah, with Kira just being with Lacus somehow.
Yeah, implying that Kira was rescued by zaft personnel for no reason, brought into space, and straight to Lacus for personal care, while Atherin, the zaft soldier, was left floating on the beach.
Yep.
Given that we got no time frame, sorry, I should have. The fact that we normally record these two back to back, I didn't go back and make notes on the last episode we watched, assuming that I would just do these together the same way we normally do. But if I was, I would have gone back and re-listened to all the conversation about where we are vis-a-vis closeness to Alaska, because still a very confusing moment that I'm sure was entirely obvious were we not talking to each other during this moment. Because I feel like I was listening, like we were having a discussion, and I was just listening and going back and forth, and they must have said on the screen something about their actual location. And,
They were entering the perimeter of Alaska. We don't have any implication towards the scale of the perimeter, but that is where they were where
right,
they were.
which is problematic because specifically LaFlaga is like, I want to fly back and look for them. And if they're close to Alaska, that means flying the distance of sorry, the length of the Pacific Ocean. So that's quite a
Yes.
distance, especially wherein you're afraid of getting shot down by Zaft at any location they're in, because Zaft
Yeah.
has submarines and ships all across the fucking ocean. So it implies LaFlaga's desire to go back and look implies closeness, whereas the closeness to the Alaskan perimeter implies distance.
Exactly. We are left in a position in an ambiguous situation.
Well, more than that, if they're close to Alaska, it implies a time lapse from which Kira could have had something happen to him.
Yeah.
Versus if they're still right back there, that implies no time has passed and Kira did go through a wormhole.
Because you are also talking about the potential of a character archetype insert. I don't know who I will not giving information because it might be important or
Oh no no I think you're bringing up something that I may have mentioned before. There is a yeah that that is my expectations based on another show of which this one is cribbing on, but
yes.
that it was just an expectation that does not actually affect the timeline. If they time
Okay.
if they time jumped, that wouldn't affect what I'm talking about. If they didn't time jump, what I was talking about would be more expected to happen, but also wouldn't be affected by not time jumping.
Got it.
Yeah, when we get to that, I'll be able to explain it if any of us fucking remembers, and it'll make more sense then why I would have expected it to happen here. See, the
Got
problem
it.
is that the camera flew through space and we saw all the plants. Because I could make the argument, oh, maybe he's not actually in space. Maybe Lacus is on Earth in a place that just looks like her home. but we had to have that camera fly through to look at all the plants so we know they're there. I don't I don't think there's any way I'm gonna be satisfied by this.
I see what you're saying.
I anything else you want to add before we get into this?
Um, yes, I don't think that we're going to see the introduction of any of the new Gundams. Actually, you know what? No, I think at the end, like last half of the episode, we might see the introduction of like the new Gundam pilots. We
So,
might.
in the last 12 minutes,
Yeah.
this is 23 minutes long. I'll say last 13 minutes. I'll give you a couple extra minutes. Last
Hell yeah.
13 minutes, you think we're going to get bonus Gundam people?
Bonus Gundam people last 13 minutes.
I mean, it could be. Look, Rao. I forget that's what we call him. That's the better. Laflaga, good guys. Rao, bad guys. Don't mess with the La part of their names. It's just going to get confusing.
Got it.
Um, I think I was making a mental note of it. That the fact that they called them the Rao's team again and not Atherin's team implies that Rao is taking back command of the people he was once in charge of. So
Yes.
if Rao is back in charge, that might then imply administration. And if administration is at play, that might mean replacement for the team members that we lost. Because we need a full team for whatever we're doing. We can't afford to be missing ranks. It would also imply Jins, or Dins as they are now. But they're not Dins, they're Gundams. So where did the Gundams come from? The card! Right, the card thing! Remember the card thing? From back at the orb base, Atherin kept talking about the card. The card
Yes.
that they needed to infiltrate and everything.
Yes.
Which then must mean that they're stealing Gundams from Orb. And that's where they're going to get them from.
Yes.
Because we never saw the payoff of the card.
I also just thought of a potential way that we get Atherin onto or out of Zaft. Rao could actively be like, okay, I am in charge now. These are my guys. I only have room for one more on my team. And it could be a fight between Scarboy and Atherin.
I mean, I don't know. Yazik seemed happy that Atherin had killed Kira. So I think their purposes are aligned.
Yazik was happy that Atherin killed Kira. But also Yazik was straight up like, what the hell are you doing back here? Like, there's two very different energies that were being given.
I don't know. I think if anything was gonna push Atherin to the good guy side, because honestly I don't want to see it. I don't want him on the good guy side, and that's not because I don't like the good guys. I just don't see it as a satisfying storyline to pursue.
Yeah.
If anything was gonna happen, Rao kills his dad. I think I said
like that too. I like that too.
I think I said before that there was that phone conversation when Rao was like sick on the floor taking all his pills, and he has a conversation with Patrick Zala. Also, by the way, that'd be implying that your character's dead in my ideal future. That he was implying that he's only agreeing with Patrick, and then he says something after they hang up, like, I'll get. Yeah, I hate that guy. He says something implying that he's not actually working for Patrick because of any desire to do so.
Yeah.
That maybe Klein isn't the good guy we think he is. And maybe him and Rao are working together, and then Patrick is doing all of this. Look at this, Klein. I got everyone working together for me on this military plan that I put together. They don't actually like you at all. After we see all these papers that say Klein is leader. So
I see it.
Maybe it's a front. Maybe Klein tried to get his own daughter killed. He sends her out on the ship that then gets attacked almost immediately. Supervillain Klein? I don't know. I don't see it, but But if somehow...
If we're doing supervillain Klein, that does set up both of them getting into that type of space.
It would put Patrick in a way he could get killed. You know, maybe drink some bad water. We've seen that happen.
Yep.
Which would then put Athrun on the back foot. Like, if he's going after if someone's killed my dad, maybe they're after me. It would also, long shot here, very long shot, explain how Kira got to Lacus. If Klein is trying to orchestrate something, I can use this random chess piece, and I'll hide him with my daughter.
1,000,000%. If that is the explanation we get, I would actually be like, okay, that works.
Don't want it, but would be forced to be happy that it happened because I guessed it. So, I would be in the 50-50 realm.
Understood. I think 50-50 is acceptable in this case, though. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it's better than 0. You know, where I'm at right now with Kira.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anything else before we get into this?
No.
All right. Well, let's jump on in. But actually, literally, is literally true. He's missing because you don't know where he's at. He was in action at the time. But now who am I going to manipulate?
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Literally in the last episode of Macross, the main girl in the show gave the pilot this like medallion sort of thing to rub for good luck. Just saying. It's just funny crossovers keep happening. It's probably because Macross is like every genre of show in one.
I'm getting that. I'm getting that vibe from everything I've heard.
Well, it's because every show that we watch is like, this is interesting. It's the last episode of Macross that we watched. I guess there's also the element of me talking about Macross advertises a show that's on the channel.
Yeah.
So I can't like, it's funny, and I don't really want to like interrupt the show that we're watching to talk about a different show. But, you know, more people should watch Macross. Macross, I think, is only like 10 years younger than Gundam is. And they're both ongoing.
The fact that it's still ongoing is definitely giving merit to it as well.
Well, there's the whole thing about Harmony Gold situation, where Harmony Gold took licensing rights legally outside of Japan. That's where Robotech is. Robotech is, if you ever heard of Robotech.
Yep.
Robotech is Macross in every other country of the world except Japan. So, except they basically combined like 3 or 4 shows together to make Robotech and abandoned a lot of Macross to do so. So it's not even actually Macross, just the animation. I'm sure there's going to be comments about that.
Speaking of animation, did they change this animation style?
That water looks different.
Yeah.
Remember, we're in the high HD remaster, so sometimes the animation goes back and forth between smudgy old school 2000s and whatever year they changed this in. Welcome back to Orb for the 3rd time.
This isn't Orb, this is Alaska.
Yeah, I keep messing that up. I'm sure I'll get the hate.
Yeah.
No, what confused me now, I remember, is that they made a comment last time about getting away from Orb. And I thought, oh, they're going back to Orb for some reason. Not posthumously. Oh, that one I'll actually be able to pause and read. Unlike the other one, which was just a bunch of news articles from 2003.
Do you think they might also go the direction of trying to convince Kira to join
the GAT series? Remember, I specifically indicated one of the Gundam pilots from the opening is piloting a GAT.
Yep.
Implying that they have other Gundams now. There it is.
Okay, so we've seen the Gundams, but not the pilots.
Right, so that implies the ones from the opening are on the good guy side? Or the protagonist side? These guys are obviously in shadow because they're not the good guys.
Yeah, if we think that these are the good guys.
I said protagonist. I've always said Zaft is in the right. Janus 7 was a tragedy.
Okay, I was gonna say something. Yes. It is possible that what could be happening is Zaft could be have Kira there to try and make him flip sides. Be like, yeah, your people abandoned you.
Oh, I can't wait for that. 28 episodes of Atherin trying that. Now let's try somebody else. I mean, if that's what Operation Split Break is, it's not a rumor. See, if it's Carpentaria based, then why is the opening keep showing us Gibraltar?
I don't know.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, in Gibraltar... So... was that dual? No, because they had too many guns to be dual.
Could be an upgraded duel?
No, that's dual. What was the other one?
Yeah.
And where did they get it?
No.
I guess it could have just been a recolored Din or a Jin. But didn't have too many guns for that. Hey, remember when we implied that your best friend was a fucking idiot and walked into a knife? Imagine hating a character so much that in an HD remaster you changed how he died to make him look dumber.
Yeah.
I know you think you're talking him up, but that actually makes him look like an idiot. He always looked dangerously, and cried a lot, like a baby. He was a real baby.
You remember this baby that we put in front of you?
Assuming that you actually succeeded.
Let
me just dig that knife in a little bit deeper. Yep, smile.
Yeah.
Oh, don't imply he was a friend of Waldfield. He didn't even know that guy.
Yeah, man, this guy's just setting up the... this guy... Wrestling term, this guy's just setting up the face turn.
Look, they already sold me on Janus 7. Now I'm just living hashtag justice for Nicole life. I haven't been this mad about a death since a little girl died on the way to Earth.
And you were mad about that one.
Kontou ni hayaku owaraseta mono da na.
So they're promoting Atherin.
Yeah, That's what he said. But he just killed the Gundam pilot on the enemy side, right? So
Yeah.
you gotta make him a war hero. Get him off the front. You know, other than the fact that we know he failed. They could have hid this better from us. Unless they're anticipating some people in the audience being like, oh, thank God Kira's alive.
Are they setting up to assassinate Atherin?
I don't think so. Oh, there he is, the guy from the island. Well, I was right. I said this was a possibility. I said it didn't make sense to me, but...
Yeah, we are surprised he's waking up here.
Well, I said that this guy would be a way to get back to Zaft if I thought he represented who I thought he represented. But
Yeah.
I thought this guy shouldn't have any connection to Zaft, if by the same token. Not anymore, anyway. I thought this guy should be former Zaft.
Got it.
Fuck off. Fuck the right off.
I appreciate the fuck all the way off.
How did he get blown there? By the way, not even injured from the explosion. At least
Yeah,
Atherin was like
man.
flying out towards the water. I was in the middle of an explosion with literally nowhere to be blown to. Oh, here we go.
No.
Let
no.
out the human noises.
No, don't do it. Okay, that's better.
I feel like a sadist, like, just enjoy this kid crying. Remember, the only hole in his whole Gundam was in front of the explosion, facing it.
Yeah.
Where and how did he get blown anywhere? He should have, if he got bounced around, he would bounce around inside the cockpit. Like a bullet bouncing around in someone's head after it gets into the skull.
Yep. I'm trying to figure out a way to devil's advocate Kira, because we need at this point we need that.
No. He's getting the Yazik treatment. You know, Yazik somehow survived falling to Earth and just happened off screen. We don't talk about it. Arguably, he did. In a world where the writers don't suck, he did.
Yes.
Look at that. And that's where the explosion was. The force of the wave comes this way, knocks you backwards, and then what? Where do you go?
And not even that. He didn't even lose his hair.
Or
Like-
burns? No, none of those.
No, we don't get those.
Never saw him close his eyes, by the way. Should be kind of blinded, I would assume.
Coordinators don't get burns.
No, they do. Remember, they cause extreme sickness, according to one doctor. I told you there was not going to be a way to satisfy me on this one.
Yeah.
All I can hope is that I don't bring this up for 50 more episodes.
オルバーニの情報案などは今さらそんなものを持ち出してどうしようというのです。スピットブレイクはすでに可決されたのです。私とて無論これをこのままというつもりはない。だが戦えば必ず犠牲は出る。回避できるものならその方が良いではないか。
So instead of Nicole's dad being like, yeah, I don't want any other parent to suffer what I suffered, he's going to be like, fuck them, kill them more.
初めから突っぱね
That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, that was Yazik's mom.
理事国側すべての意向をまとめ上げているわけではなかろう。話し合うと言ってもそれではな。
では我々は今後言葉はすべて切り捨て銃のみを取っていくというのか。そのようなものなのか我々は。クライン前議長殿、それはお言葉が過ぎるでしょう。我々は
Oh, right. I forgot to bring that up. I guess we saw the transfer of power there earlier in the episode. So the whole Klein is leader thing that I was talking about can't happen anymore.
貴重なご意見の提示はありがたく受け取らせていただくが、あとは我ら現最高評議委員会が検討すべきこと、使者として来られたマルキオ同士には私からも礼をと伝えよう。
Okay, we all know that that guy is here then. We just don't know that he brought Kira with him.
アラスカは核の直撃にも耐えうる構造を持つと言われている。もっとも今は使えんし、
That's all.
使うつもりもないがね。
You know what's funny?
叩くにはグランドフォローと呼ばれる内部に進行するしかないが。
The Alaska base is the site of the Grand Cannon. A super weapon designed to shoot things in orbit.
アラスカの情報
It
は
also does
我らは常に手
could
にし
survive
ておか
nuclear
ねばな
attacks. Just throwing it out there.
が今回のこの偵察も特務ゆえ守秘
Also, there's a lot of battalions around here.
誰かに冒険譚を聞かせたくとも戦後まで待てよ。
I'm sure I got it wrong, but those X's with the lines next to them and everything, I had to do a lot of research on those for the anime 86. I just don't remember because there's so many fucking symbols for those kind of things.
第8艦隊所属艦アークエンジェル、当艦への指示についてお伺いしたい。
機関への指示はすべてサザーランド大佐より発令されます。
では大佐につないでいただきたい。
And that's bad, girl.
Oh, is it? I was very confused.
通信はおつなぎでき
It looks like it anyways.
I was like, man, Buskirk's got some ass.
その捕虜がいる旨も報告してあるはずです。それに対してすらまだ。
機関への指示は依然現状のまま艦内待機です。現在はそれ以上申し上げられません。
I want to say that that whale might be a reference to the movie On the Beach.
ちょっとでも何か食べないと。
Because they're in Alaska, and On the Beach is like a post-nuclear war movie
寝られるわけないか。
Okay.
where they go to Alaska because they get a radio transmission in the hopes of finding survivors. And the radio transmission says something about whales still being alive or something.
珍しいな。でも仕事してろって言われてもな。
Depending on the year, on the year of the movie, that would make sense.
Oh no, On the Beach is like 60s, 50s. It's real old. It got remade like 3 times.
聞き直してどうすんだよ。
でももともとあれはこっちのもんじゃねえか。
ちげえね。
That's what I said,
けど
that they could be fixing the
コーディネータ
Buster.
ーにしか動かせねえんだろ。
Mhm.
乗れるやついねえじゃねえの。
What a weird combo these two would be.
To me, it's not whatsoever.
Well, they're both victims.
Exactly. They can help each other heal.
You know, they could trauma bond.
何？
Hell yeah, they can. Trauma bonding all day.
Haha! Say that.
やめなよ。
Bird's like, get the fuck out here. We don't want you.
急ぐんじゃなかったら後にしてくんない？ 失礼します。
You have no concept about burnt
先
bridges?
生に薬かなんかもらおう。少し
You're trying to walk on a bridge that ain't there no more.
I mean, you could have at least sat her down or something. You know, get her all the way to somewhere. Oh, that's a perfect stool for me to poop in.
あれ？
Where the fuck did you bring her?
What the fuck, dude?
Also, why did that door just fucking open for you? There's a prisoner inside.
何って。
トールがいなくて
There's no way Ha is gonna kill him.
みんな悲しいんだ。
I think she might try. The thing we thought was Flay might be Ha.
Is he? If he's restrained to the bed, maybe.
だから俺
I just don't think it's in Ha's personality to try and kill
君を
him.
慰めてやることなん
What
か
the okay? Are we giving Ha some edge now?
誰か他のやつに言って。
Fuck off, Flay.
Yeah, get the.
フレイ
Yeah, what? After you slept with Kira all those times?
私本当はキラのことなんか。
いい加減にしろよ。
Fish, I ain't here
君は
for
キ
it.
ラのことが好きだったろ。
Slap.
違う
Come on.
ないさ。
Somebody deserves a slap here.
最初はどうだったか知らないけど、あいつ優しくて。だから、そういうやつだから。
なんだよその面は。俺が怖い？珍しい？
You're in the opening, dude.
大丈夫だよ。
What the?
ちゃんと繋がれて。
Where'd your arms go? Okay.
Oh, okay.
I was like, what the fuck?
お前また泣いてんの？
We had the same thought there.
なんでそんな奴がこんな船に乗ってんだか。そんなに怖いんなら兵隊なんかやってんじゃねえっつーの。
Oh, he wants her to attack him. He's gonna take her hostage.
I don't know, he'd been talking like this for a long time. Oh, went for it. By the way, something Flay never tried to do. She threatened him, she didn't go for it.
ミリアリア。落ち着くんだミリ。
There's something about actually going for it though that that I like.
What are you getting, Flay? You didn't see his face.
Get the fuck out of here, Flay. You're not wanted here right now.
Dog, you like Flay? She can pull a gun on probably a child. So,
Yeah, but
everything you love, Flay's about to do, it feels like.
she would do it unironically.
It's not ironic. I feel like she's being inspired by Ha here.
You know what? If
Also,
Flay,
why did they keep a gun in a drawer in a room with a prisoner? And a there's a lot of shit in an unlocked room with a prisoner, by the way. These people deserve everything coming their way. All the security measures at stake.
フレイ。
コーディネーターなんてみんな死んじゃえばいいのよ。
oh no!
Sorry, what are you...
Okay, I thought she was gonna.
She tried to stab him in the head, so why did she jump in front of the gun?
Because it was a moment of passion. It would be described as a crime of passion. Once she had her
I get what you're
faculties
saying.
back.
I get what you're saying, but wouldn't letting somebody else kill him still benefit you?
No, because you have your faculties back, so you know what's like. This isn't the right move.
So I think your hair was a different color in the shower. It's a weird thing to say out loud, but I mean, true. I think
Well,
her hair
that
color was
Raimi.
brown.
I think that was Ramius. I thought the shower was Bad Girl.
Ramius has longer hair than the. Not what? Wait, what are you talking about? You said that was Bad Girl in the shower. I said
Yeah.
Bad Girl had a different hair color in the shower. You said I thought that was
Oh.
Ramius. I thought Bad Girl was in the shower. My brain just stopped working after you said that because I don't know what the fuck you mean anymore. Who's even talking about Ramius? You just said, I think that was Ramius.
I don't know.
Which means that I think that you meant that Ramius was in the shower, and I was about to
No, no,
argue.
no.
I was about to argue
I
that
did not.
Ramius has longer hair, and then you said I thought it was Bad Girl in the shower, which is what I was talking about from the beginning. So I'm like,
Yes.
again,
Confusion.
I need like ketchup packets so I can fake bleeding out the nose.
Yes, we do.
生きようとした守ろうとした切り抜けようとしたただそれだけ夢中で駆け抜けてきた道を
So why is his hands not bound anymore?
冷たく指し示されるその結果憤りのない憎しみが形ある存在に向くとき胸に目覚める者は次回機動戦士ガンダムシード闇の帯同その思い何を打つのかガンダム
So is Ha gonna let the guy go out of guilt for having attacked him? He also seems like repentant all of a sudden because he got stabbed in the head. Wait, no, actually, he gets stabbed in the cheek, and the next episode he's got bandages wrapped around the top of his head.
I don't know.
Maybe he had a concussion when he hit the floor, but I'm pretty sure he hit the floor on his shoulder. So... Look, I already expect to get half of the comments to be you talked over everything that was important. So...
Yes.
At the same time, that's why I go back over the notes. Unfortunately, the people who would leave those comments don't stick around long enough to hear these parts about the notes, and they skip over the notes part in the beginning. So, there's a no-win scenario with those people. No, if you're one of those people, I don't read your comments. So, take that. That's my win. I don't know. I'm getting petty and petulant right now. I don't know what the hell to go from here.
Hey, it's all right. There's a time and place for petty.
Yeah, I call it PP. Petty and petulant. Take my PP. Add that to all the clips of me spreading the kids out.
That was an episode.
Yeah, I mean, it puts me in the 50-50 camp. Again, I referenced the Reverend. I didn't name him on the board because they hadn't named him yet. I referenced him because I guess anybody that knows, I don't want to name the show because that'll just give you the hint there. I'm sure everybody who watches these reactions is a fan of Gundam. And that said, probably knows what I'm referring to when I say a Zeon person that's probably shouldn't be tied to Zeon anymore. That would be appropriate for that scenario. And that's why I didn't think that they would be the reason why Kira would be here. Because I didn't think they would be tied to... But they would be a reasonable explanation as to how Kira got there, especially if there was some sort of time skip. Only in the scenario where any way that Kira could survive would make sense. Which we're not in. The Venn diagram of those two situations do not overlap.
Got it as much as I think I can.
Well, no, the last half of that was entirely you and me. I'm talking to you. The Venn diagram of the scenario I'm describing, where he brings Kira there, makes sense only in the same situation that Kira survives that explosion.
I see what you're saying.
I only have the Venn diagram of that guy. There's no second circle for there to be a crossover, because Kira surviving the explosion shouldn't have a circle. That's not a Venn diagram that should exist.
Yeah.
Because explosions don't work that way. And I'm aware this is a made-up world with made-up reactors and made-up shit. He's sitting in front of the only hole. The explosion can only go in one direction when it comes to him, because it's a sphere. It's expanding as a sphere. It's coming at him, which means it's radiating out directly in front. We saw from the inside of the strike, it melted the fucking seat and everything around it.
Yes,
so
we saw that it is not a... it was not in any position to, even if somehow you acknowledge there is a way that the concussive force or some other aspect allowed for safety.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, we know the concussive wave. Say you use like a nuclear explosion as an example, right? Everyone knows how that works thanks to Terminator 2. the concussive wave comes first, then the heat it comes next, right? So this
Yeah.
this spherical explosion, he'd be blasted back into his seat first. Now, say he does ricochet, right? And say somehow luck is on his side and he ricochets out the hole. Then he gets hit by the the heat. The heat that was enough to melt the seat and burn down the Gundam around it and everything like that, right? He's bouncing right into it because the hole doesn't face any other direction. So, strong enough to melt plastic, strong enough to melt flesh.
Yes. No, there is no viable situation that should be what's happening.
They should have had Atherin cut him multiple times, right? And they should have done a horizontal thing like they did to Nicole. A couple of horizontal strikes, which would at least leave holes in multiple directions. Say, oh, I got hit by the blast and it knocked me that way instead of, backwards because the hole is sideways.
I got one better for you. Have the same cut at the front, but have Atherin dodge us one last strike and latch onto the back.
Or cut a whole section out of it. Or stab through. Well, I can't stab through. This is one of those... have we seen it in Origin? No, we haven't, so I can't describe it. Yeah, the weird... the Strike Gundam has a weird blade, which is, does this up and then over again. So it's only the middle part that's cutty. It's like a weird hacksaw sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he can't really stab through. He can only cut where he's doing. So I guess he could, do a little U shape in it. Cut out a whole section so he could have a way to... I don't know. Hypotheticals, it's not what they did. And what they did doesn't make sense. But that's not the world we're in. It's funny having gone through a whole thing of Gunbuster saying that this is a show where you try to argue against logic instead of reality. And here we are back at Gundam where logic is what we have to base everything on.
Yes, there is a certain degree of what is this going on that we need to... It breaks it to just past the point of, acceptable.
Yeah. Sorry, it took me a second to gather what you meant there. It is just past the point of acceptable. It tells us that Kira can't die.
Yes, that's actually the perfect explanation.
Did you ever watch Walking Dead?
No. Again, there's so many things that I've not watched that people have yeah, just like this on so many things I've run and done that I'm no, not once.
Yeah, no, that was... Well, I watch a lot of other reaction series, and people my age, and then they're like, no, I've never watched any of these shows before, or any of these movies. I'm like, God, did I just waste my whole fucking life watching TV and movies that everyone around me didn't see any of the same shit that I saw? It's probably true. But, anyway, there's a character called Glenn on The Walking Dead. I'm not going to get into the specifics because you haven't watched it, so I don't want to ruin it.
Is it the Negan thing?
No, Negan is
Okay.
where he actually dies. There's
Yeah.
situations that happen before, or one very specific one, where they also fake out that he's dead. Like, everyone reacts to it like he's died, and in the situation that happens, he actually should have fucking died to what we saw, and then he pulls some bullshit to make him survive. And that's basically this. But the idea, I guess I'm countering my own argument, because I'm using Glenn as an example of faking out a death and then having him die later. But if you're pulling... I'm already of the opinion that they've showed Kira, you can't hit me unless I want you to, with all the fist fights he's been in. That they've shown him to be the badass that can survive anything, just he gets sick sometimes from extreme heat. They're proving that they can't kill Kira, and I know the counter argument that I would normally hear in this situation which is the same argument I hear in the GM discussion channels for like tabletop games, which is, of course, you don't kill your players. It ruins whatever story you're trying to tell.
Get the fuck out of here.
I know. I prefer character death because it gives stakes to what you're doing. If you don't lose anything, then what's the point of gaining anything? Um, but that. Look, I get ganged up on when I bring up the argument that death is important in a game. So, but it's just the counter that I hear that it's people are invested in things and you don't take away that investment because it's not fun. I'm not here for the GM art, just me. We agreed. That's good enough right now. The idea though is that this is a narrative where Kira is the main character. If you were to kill him, what is the narrative? And if you don't have that faith in the characters that you've surrounded Kira with to be able to carry the story, then obviously that's what you're telling us when you can't risk Kira's death, is that you don't have the faith in the story that of anybody else.
So this is very much it's not a one character centric story, but it is. It's one step away from a one character centric story so far.
I mean, it might as well be. Everybody has files on Kira. Everybody has tabs on Kira. Side characters we just like get a 5-second glimpse of in the background of a battle. Pick up Kira and carry him to other characters.
Yes, but how that applies to the idea of like death and stuff like that is if you have to make it like so let's say Kira's not dead.
Well, he's not.
But in this world, what we do instead is go through like 3 episodes not revealing the alive.
Point of example, Jujutsu Kaisen. Main character died 3 episodes in, has not been revealed that he's alive to the other main characters yet, and they're still doing stuff.
Exactly. We still see things happening despite that.
As opposed to this, where the other people in the show, when Kira's not around, are still revolving around Kira. Kira's MIA. Well, I better go talk to Sai about that, and Sai will, of course, talk about Kira, right? Kira's dead. Well, thank God that the people in Alaska have these readouts with all about Kira's specifics. You know? Everything is still about Kira, even when Kira's not around.
Yes. So this is not... Gundam is the equivalent of if you were to do one-player D&D.
Gundam seed.
Gundam seed. Thank you.
Other Gundams are available.
That's the best way I could describe it from what I've seen.
Yeah. Because I guess you can have hirelings at the wazoo, and that's what everyone else feels like.
So you have hirelings, you have many more GM characters, but what you don't have is an instance where if the character dies, it turns it into a, well, what do we do now, right? Like you have to, because in a regular game, what happens is the story has a reason to move on.
What this reminds me of, actually, now that you put it in that like solo player game, if you guys can find it, I don't remember exactly. I think his name is Scott something. He used to be the former GM of the Roleplay channel, and I'm the one that Adam, whatever his name was on, but it's not him. It's not the guy who got accused of non-consensual rape, basically in-game rape during a session to a character.
Yeah.
Yeah, not that guy. The guy who came 2 GMs before him, back in their like 3.5 D&D days or whatever it was, or 2nd edition, I think it was.
That's a pull I will never be able to assist you with.
He does his own D&D thing where it's I think it's called Dicing with Death or something like that, where him and another GM do solo player games, but once one of their characters die, they flip and the other guy becomes the GM and the other guy becomes the player. So it's a back and forth thing, and it reminded me of that because if you think about it, Athrun and Kira sort of being mainish characters, that it does go kind of back and forth between them.
I see it.
I mean, only from that perspective of single-player D&D game. I mean, I don't think it really works for any of our other metaphors, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I know I'm turning back into that hater that a bunch of people will hate to see me constantly making comments about and will indicate how wrong I am about everything. But right now, in the moment, I do not feel anything else.
I'm not in that vein, but I get being in that vein very much so.
It feels disingenuous from the show to show us the character in a death-defying, or not, it is death-defying in that he defied death.
Yeah,
In a situation like that, and anybody who's been watching so far, who has heard me comment about Yazik's fall from space and how it never gets explained, this is the same argument. I've said Yazik is my favorite character, and I love watching him react to just about fucking everything that pisses him off. But I will always still come back to the fact that Yazik fell from space in a way that they said the Gundams could not survive.
Yes.
And he just fucking shows up again, perfectly fine, and his Gundam isn't even scratched. Whereas Kira went through a portion of that fall and got hospitalized for illness due to the heat that he experienced. So, I always rally against Yazik, but Yazik's been an entertaining enough character for me that I've kind of just, let it slide. He's also not a main character. Well, he is a main character. He's not the main character.
He's an ensemble cast.
Yeah. He's part of the crew that determines what happens to most of the other characters. Kira, I mean, Yazik, maybe we could... I don't know. I'm not going to excuse Yazik either. But Kira, he's the mainstay of the show. Everything revolves around him. We spend all of our time with him. You didn't give us an out, and you didn't explain him either. They're in the same boat. The show's done it multiple times now. It's unsatisfying. It feels like a cop-out. It feels like bad writing. And if you're going to do that to a main story arc, what are you going to do with everything else?
Yes. No, I think that is the perfect explanation. I think there's nothing else to say.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously you're trying to get me to shut up because you think I'm blabbing. No, let me finish. You let me finish. Even if you're not, I also think that's the perfect line to end on because I'm just going to ramble on and I'm going to make my point worse. So, I think it is also a good time to end here. So,
hell yeah.
Once again, I have been Theta. This has been Justin. We've been Stoneface Reactions, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?